Hey guys, so I have some footage of me a few days ago, um, being a bunch of Wilds bosses. I just got asked to help with a bunch of them in a row, and so I figured I would just record all of them and do a voiceover later. You can see me flipping around just because I was lagging really bad. I had to close out uh, one of my alternate tunes that I had on the background. But here we have Spirit of Dark, which is a really tough one. Um, Unless you have a really extremely OP group that has purge runes, you do need a pretty strong archer and an archer that's going to be able to hold up. So I would say probably 200k BR is a like a very low minimum. And here we have a really strong group. Late Night is I think the second strongest archer in our group. I mean in our server, so very strong. Broccoli for you is I don't know where his BR at is these days, but he's quite strong. And myself, so we brought Marina because we thought we could probably fit her into the mix, and we were able to. Uh, so the key parts with Hades, if you just saw that big skull that hit Ember, it causes a chaos. Um, when you have a Hades yourself, or Hades or Gaia, that skill actually is a bleed, so it's a little bit confusing when everybody was getting into it at first. People didn't recognize it as a chaos, but that's what it does. Um, and it lasts 3 turns, so you need to either be able to kind of muddle through it, or you need your mages to Puri and get rid of it. If you are a mage and you have the chaos on you, you can't Puri it away off yourself. You need somebody else to do it. If you have a marriage ring that's level 3 or higher, that will also work. Here, Ember takes the brunt of it, which is actually not such a bad thing. That means that our stronger players have some space to just go ahead and do damage. We lose Ember, but I think we're all right here. The, you can go ahead and sell. The one thing that I don't really get, and if anybody knows how this works, is what is the appropriate formation um, for Spirit of Dark, because whenever I go in there, it's a complete crapshoot who he decides to hit that day. So today it looked like a lot of back row. It hit Ember and Brock a lot, but any other day it could have been the front row as well. So I never really care what the formation is. For the other 80 bosses, I think it's a little bit more predictable how you have to go about it. So, the chaos is on Brock. I don't know if I puree here. It's been a few days since I'm away from this footage, but I do manage to sneak it in. There we go. So for every single 80 boss, I'm trying to think back to the 70s whether they do this, but at least for the 80 bosses, at the very end of the second to last bar, so as you're about to get to the last bar, the boss will do a really big AoE and debuff you in which reduces your resistance to whatever the element is. So in this case, the dark boss is going to AoE us in a moment and drop our dark resistance, which is the tough part to deal with. These bosses, from what I can tell, do not have any timers on them, and by timers I just mean at a certain point do they build up a 1000% rage buff and just kill everybody. So they don't have that, but they do have this dark resistance reduction, which you can see at the bottom in my debuffs. So, so that's group 1 with right there. I would say Dark is definitely the toughest of the bunch, and out of my rewards, I got some nice mystery stones, and the rest of the lot. The mystery stones are really what I'm gunning for at this point. And but for the most part, I only get at best like a couple of elites and a boss each day. I'm very lazy about going and looking around, so I don't get that in very much. So this was the second group that we had Spirit of Electro, and there was a Soul Drainer nearby, so we punched that out. right off the bat. Soul Drainer is, I believe, the only level 80 elite, so finding them is important when you're at level 80 if you care about what rewards you get. But as long as it's as long as it's an elite within your level range, it doesn't really matter. You'll still get the same number of mystery stones. The only difference is how much of the other rewards you get. I don't think they give EXP. Yeah, no. So here we have Spirit of Electro. I already set up the formation the way that I wanted it. Protecting against what's it called? Short circuit is the main issue here. It doesn't necessarily behave quite like like how um, your own Eve or Hercules would use short circuit, but short circuits here is the nastiest skill from this Spirit of Electro. So if you can get a Mars Will up or something like that, at the very least an Apollo Shield before she does that, it's very helpful. So that's where it was. That was the short circuit. So Alpha took the brunt of that. Somehow Katrina avoided quite a bit of damage. But the reason why I have this formation is because it has the fewest number of corners. And corners are where short circuit and incendiary shot and anything that spreads by row and column, that's how you protect against it. It's not totally ideal for mages because it covers up a lot of the players sometimes. So for example here I can't see Baldwin's HP very well, so sometimes the best solution if you really need this formation or if it really helps is to hide your clothing so that it makes things a little bit easier for people. But actually, even in group arena, this is the best way to go. There, Alpha almost died, so I was a little bit scared. But luckily he has Aegis on, and so he was able to heal himself up. So here, Spirit of Electro and Bright Angel do have some nasty stuns that just can knock you out for a while. I feel like they toned it down though at some point at one of the patches because lately I haven't gotten as many of these like 3-turn stuns that don't allow me to do anything for a very long time. So coming up, here it is. So there's the Brutality and a big AoE. It's like the Delphic, except that it AoEs in this case. That Brutality isn't a 1k Brutality, but it's still kind of nasty. So actually, in this case, it doesn't drop our Electro resistance. It just does a Brutality. But for Bright Angel, which is a light opponent, and Spirit of Dark, which is obviously dark, those two definitely do drop your resistances. Oh, I forgot to mention with all of these how important scatter is. I mean, I did say that you need an archer, but sometimes you can get away with just everybody having a purge rune and making sure that you communicate who's going to use the purge rune at what point. So for Spirit of Dark, you need to scatter because he'll get an increased amount of damage. Same for Spirit of Electro. That buff at the top that stacks each time that she hits us is an increased damage one. In the case of Bright Angel, it actually increases the defense for the boss, which actually in some ways is a bit nastier, just because if you tried to go without an archer, you could very well end up in a situation where you deal less damage than than the Bright Angel will heal on himself. Here we had a 70 boss, so I thought I would throw that one in here. I don't think we have an archer. I think this group did try once before, and I don't think anybody brought a purge, including myself, thinking that there was an archer. Somebody got a little bit lost in the group, but that's mostly just because if you move around when somebody else starts to attack the boss, you'll get left out. So you just have to kind of um, continue to try to get in, and it shouldn't be too bad. There's an attack button there, and sometimes it's a little bit fussy, but you'll get back in. It shouldn't be too much of a problem. So in the case where you go with a group and you don't have any archers, if anybody has a purge room, even if it's a level 1, it's going to be helpful. For this one, you kind of want a level 2 just because it has an increased damage buff and what else? And a deflect. So here it looks like an kind of MDef buff, but it's actually a deflection. So I asked somebody to get a purge there. But when you do go with a group with these bosses, you want the weakest players who have a purge rune to use it first, just because the people who are stronger and who can live longer throughout the boss can use their purge runes later. So you just want to keep that in mind and make sure that you're utilizing everybody as much as possible. So here, yeah, I was saying that it was just a single purge, and so it didn't get rid of the deflect, but we managed to do all right. For most PvE things, so player versus monster, I prefer Hercules, but Wilds is really especially the 80 bosses in Wilds is the one place where I really make an exception. It's really nice to be able to tank these while using Gaia, just because she has Devour Soul, so I can heal myself back up, and it really helps. And also, you know, Hercules is about speed, and so if there were a timer on these bosses, maybe I would want to use Hercules because he does more damage. But because there's no real rush to be able to beat it, other than the fact that it's annoying and you want to get it done sooner, there isn't as big of a speed factor here. So actually Aegis, I think, or Aegis or Gaia is a better option. So here we're down to 2 people, Hawkman and myself, which is okay. I kept on waiting. This is not the most diligent boss fight I've ever done. The buff is at 11. But for me, that's not too bad. For Hawk, it's if she hits him at this point, it's not great. But he's doing a good job trying to just stay up and use his shields. And luckily, I'm tanking, and most of the hits from this boss are front row. But there he goes. But he has a shield on, so he was smart enough to get that out. And here's the deflect again. So I got my purge out, and then I have a lot of room to just clean up, use my Delphic, and hopefully get it over as soon as possible. Even though there's no timer on this, you definitely don't want to dawdle too much, just because the bosses do buff up. You have a limited number of purge runes and such. So if you have a team with no archer and you don't have any, you know, consistent a scatter shot, you definitely don't want to dawdle. You know, you have long cooldowns on the purge and such. So yeah. Here I lost a little bit of the beginning footage. We kind of just rushed into this Bright Angel fight, and so I was kind of like putting on the recording as we were going. And the formation's a little funky here. I think that we were just like throwing this group together. But I'm glad I got to get all the 80 bosses in to show that footage. So with Bright Angel, again, top right, there's a buff on him, which increases with each turn, and it basically increases his damage reduction. So each one of those stacks is a 10% damage reduction. So you really don't want it to get any more than 3 or 4. And I have done this boss without archers more than I have other bosses, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So here at least we have AT, and he's a great archer, so he's able to stay up and do all the scatters. So here it's just rage, heal management with the other players, and just kind of tank and spank. I do think before, Bright Angel was distinctly the easiest of the 80 bosses to defeat. Now I think it's kind of more even. I think they made Spirit of Electro a little bit easier, or at least everybody got stronger, and they kind of evened out Bright Angel and Spirit of Electro. But Spirit of Dark is definitely still the biggest pain in the butt, just because of that chaos and and the debuff at the end. It's a real pain. So here we go. I really enjoy Aegis on this one, just because dark versus light. I do a ton of damage with a dark pet. I do take a little bit more damage, but luckily I'm a mage, so I have a good amount of MDef, and I also keep light resistances on when it's not class wars time. So so that all of that added up, it works out really well. So here, no big issues, and we defeat it. So a big thanks to all my friends who beat up these bosses. It was a lot of wilds that day. But take care, you guys, and have a very good day.